Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to the Women's Hoop Show, your go-to spot for all things W. And we've got a packed episode coming your way. First up, we're diving into the Commissioner's Cup chaos that was last week and previewing the final. The Minnesota Lynx are back in the final and hosting this year, but this time they'll face off against Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, who are making their Cup final debut. We'll break down how both teams got here, the key matchups, and whether Collier's back injury could tilt the outcome. I think so. Then we'll hit the top games of the week from the red hot Mercury, handing the Liberty back-to-back losses to Paige Becker's return to Connecticut, where she is undefeated, by the way, and Atlanta lighting it up from deep. Can you say pow, pow? Pow, pow. Let's just say it's been a week of statement wins and quiet stumbles. And we'll close it out with Sending Flowers, presented by Cash App, where we spotlight players and moments that deserve their roses. All right, enough of me. Let's talk hoops. Sheryl Swoops.
What up, Jordan?
Back in the building. Hi, Sheryl. How are you?
Hi, I am amazing. How are you?
I'm doing well. I know you've been gallivanting all over the country since the last time I saw you.
I've been a few places.
You've been a few places. I know one thing was Fanatics Fest. How was that?
OMG.
That looked amazing.
OMG. It was, so this was my first time ever attending Fanatics Fest. And it was like, this is what I said to somebody. I'm not a big collector of like sports memorabilia, only like really special people. But this was a place that even if you're not a collector of memorabilia, if you're a sports fan, if you're a like entertainment fan, like just the place to be. You had WWE, you had music, actors, actresses, athletes, collegiate athletes, professional athletes, retired athletes, goats,
so cool.
All the things, right? And I just was like, it takes a lot for me to be like, oh my gosh, did you just see who I saw? Right? Like I was that way the first time I met Michael Jordan, when I met Barack Obama, when I met Oprah Winfrey, I was like, oh my gosh, like they're human. So like I saw Tom Brady, like I was like Tom Brady knew who I was. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh my God, like I've made it. Tom Brady knows who I am. But he was so cool and so nice. But to be in a building where you're just walking around and you never know, excuse me, who you're going to see, who you're going to run into. I was at a restaurant. Tiffany Haddish was literally sitting across from me. And so I went over and said hi. And she was like, girl, I thought that was you. I was like, me? You're not little old me, Tiff. But it was so fun.
Do you know who you are? Like, do you know, like, you were that moment for a lot of other people there?
Okay, I hear you. But this was my moment.
But over this past weekend,
you've been moving around too.
I know. I was in Chicago, and the weather was beautiful. Summertime shy. It was gorgeous. And I was speaking at a type 1 diabetes conference, and it was awesome. It was so great. So I was so happy to be there, share my story, talk to other T1Ds. It was so fun. So little different fanatics, but we were like fangirling over robot parts that we have to use to stay alive.
A great cause, though. A great cause.
Yes. Speaking of big things that are on the horizon and that are coming is the Commissioner's Cup Championship, July 1st. We have been talking about it for weeks, and I love personally how it went down to the last day on June 17th to see who was going to be in the championship game. There was like so many different scenarios. This team had to win. This team had to lose. this team had to win by this many points in order to get to the final. And now we have it. The Minnesota Lynx versus the Indiana Fever will be on July 1st. Let's talk about the Minnesota Lynx real quick, just getting here. They still have a nearly flawless record of 12-1 right now. That one loss coming to Seattle, which was going to mix up the Commissioner's Cup West Coast Conference a little bit. But I think Minnesota has just been rocked. They look great. They look so solid. They have bounced back after that loss. And the only thing for me, Sheryl, is will Napheesa Collier be healthy going into this championship game? Because she is leading the WNBA. She is front runner for MVP. And Minnesota is a great team, but we can't say that they could still win this without Fee. Like, they need her, for sure.
So, Minnesota is a great team with Napheesa Collier. Minnesota is a good team without Napheesa Collier. Right?
Yes.
So,
yes.
When you say, will Fee being out make a difference? 100%. So, she has to play if she's healthy enough, right? And not only because of what she brings to Minnesota, like, it's undeniable she is everything for Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
But I look at who they're playing in the Commissioner's Cup, Indiana Fever.
Mm-hmm. I
know the last couple games, Indiana, they just haven't played very well, but Indiana's a really good team. And without Napheesa Collier playing in that game, it makes it not saying that Minnesota can't beat Indiana, but it makes it a lot tougher for Minnesota to beat Indiana without Fee.
Mm-hmm.
So how serious is the back issue? I don't know, but I will be very curious to see if Fee plays in the games before the Commissioner's Cup final championship, I should say.
Yeah. No, I think the severity is a key point to this, and we're not sure. I think WNBA just in general, they keep injuries really under wraps. Like, we don't have any inside information here. They keep it under wraps because I don't think teams want to blow it out of proportion. They don't want to undersell it, so they just keep it really in-house. So we're not really
Jordan,
sure.
So, because I asked this question, and because there's a difference, is she injured or is she in pain? Right?
Because or is it soreness? Yeah.
What
was the exact
soreness,
wordage?
pain,
I'll look it up.
injury. Because if it's an injury, then there are a lot of question marks behind that. Like, what's the severity of the injury? How did the injury happen? Can she come back from the injury? Versus if it's just soreness. Typically with soreness, you take a few days off, you do treatment, you take some meds, and you're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of players, they can play through the pain or the soreness. You know what I mean? And an injury is just very different.
I know. But if the NBA finals have told us anything, I don't know if you watched the NBA finals last night, but
I sure did.
Oh, Halliburton's injury was heartbreaking, soul crushing, and deflating, but it brought that conversation up, which is kind of the conversation we have in the WNBA all the time. They're saying they should shorten the NBA season. That was 3 Achilles injuries in just the playoffs. And also why playing on an injury with soreness or trying to play through it for the moment could actually have major repercussions. It was a calf injury that led to an Achilles injury for Halliburton. Not saying that this could happen with Napheesa, but it's this idea of like, okay, do we need Fee for the Commissioner's Cup championship or do we need her for the real deal?
Right.
Come the end of the season if it's that big. You know, we don't know. We are speculating. But if it is something where it's like, okay, play through it so we can get this win, or is it sit it out and make sure you're 1,000% before you're able to come back and get us a dub that really, really matters?
Well, you know, and this is where you have to, as a coach, right? You have to listen to your players. And
Mm-hmm.
I know, going back to the Halliburton injury, first of all, just man, my heart ached for him. You saw it when it happened, right? Because the camera was like right there, and I was like, it's an Achilles. He's done.
Done.
Um, but he also was like, there's no way I'm going to miss a game 7 because I may not
Mm-hmm.
ever get here again. So as a player, you understand, especially if you're already dealing with an injury, you understand the risk you run to try to play through that injury. And he said that, right? So that's why I ask with Fee, is it soreness, is it pain, or is it an injury? So as a coach,
Mm-hmm.
you have to, yeah, you're going to rely on your trainers, the doctors. But to me, more than anything, it's the communication with the player, right? Like, what are
Yeah.
you feeling? How are you feeling? If you can go, great. And if you can't, then let's not. So to your point, of course, Minnesota, they want to repeat as Commissioner's Cup champs. But at the end of the day, they're trying to get the big one. And that big one is winning a WNBA title this season.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on how serious it is. But
Yeah.
not having Fee, Minnesota is they're a different looking team. The Aces not having Asia Wilson, they're a different looking team. Indiana not having Caitlin Clark, they're a different looking team. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. She is their superstar. The last
Yeah.
update that I'm seeing here was June 19th. Assistant coach for the Minnesota Lynx, Eric Tebow, said, you know, quote, she was feeling decent today. I think Sheryl had said it's something she's dealt with before, so just trying to get her feeling good. We know it's a long year, end quote. So it also seems like as a team, they're keeping that in perspective of, do we play her now or keep her for the season? So we'll see. That's kind of a big question mark going into next week's final. If Fee is on the floor,
It's a
we're
big
having a
question mark.
different conversation. But on the other side of that
100%.
coin is the Indiana Fever, and they clinched the Eastern Conference spot, which I think we all thought was going to go to New York after the hot start that they had all season.
Yeah.
But the win that Indiana Fever had over New York turned out to be not only just monumental because, you know, they were undefeated no more, but it had ripple effects of whether they were going to make the Commissioner's Cup final or not. So it turned out to be a huge win for them. But beyond that, because when it came down to the final day, Indiana had to lose to Connecticut and Atlanta had to win over New York for Atlanta to get into the Commissioner's Cup. If New York needed to get in, they needed to beat Atlanta and for Indiana to lose against Connecticut, which we all didn't. I mean, I didn't think that was going to happen. I know Connecticut has made some miraculous comebacks in their couple wins that they have this season, but I didn't even watch the game, Sheryl. I was like, oh, I mean, Indiana has that. It's really on Atlanta to get the job done against New York. So that was the game I was watching. Turns out that Connecticut and Indiana game was the one to watch because that was a game that everybody was talking about, all of the things that happen during the game. And I feel like I kind of debriefed it last week by myself, but I want to talk about it with you. It brought up a lot of questions. It brought up, and I'm referring to, you know, the flagrant fouls, the I don't even know, the scrums that were going on in the Connecticut and Indiana game in the final Commissioner's Cup game. And it brought up questions about physicality in the WNBA. It brought up questions about the referees, which I think is a huge conversation right now. Did they get it right? Were they out of their depths? Did they not set the tone early? And this is why, the flagrant foul at the end of the game with Sophie Cunningham happened, because the refs didn't have it under control. A lot happened. Turns out they upgraded Marina Mabry's flagrant or technical to a flagrant 2 days later in that first half scrum. But what do you make of all of this? It was a lot, and it was in the headlines days after. What do you make of it? I know the W has been physical. I know there's been some fights before, but do you feel like this year feels different?
No, I don't. I will say this. There is a difference in being a physical player or a physical play and a dirty player or a dirty play. There's a difference. The refs, and it's not just this game. I'll go back to last season. I don't think the refs have been good across the W for the past 2 seasons. And some people would argue and say even before then. My thing is, at some point, when do the refs have to take accountability? Right? Because players get fined, they get suspended, they get ejected, they get all the things when they're, this game, for example, and I will get into that a little bit more. But I don't know what repercussions the refs have. I don't. So to start the game off, this is any game, the refs have to take control of it before it does get out of hand. I am not making any excuses for Sophie's foul at the end on JC at all. I do agree that she did that because the refs were allowing things to happen the entire game. But I'm starting backwards and I'm working my way forward. That last play where Sophie, she didn't go for the ball at all. At all. I think it was 30 something seconds left in the game. You're up by 17 points. Like, what are you doing? And so when I say there's a difference between being physical and being dirty, that to me was a dirty play. That wasn't a physical play. It was a dirty play. You grabbed her around her neck and you took her down. And people will say, well, that's why they brought Sophie. They brought Sophie to be the enforcer. Well, what was she enforcing in that moment? I don't know. I get it. You're upset because people are saying JC intentionally poked Caitlin in the eye on the foul. I didn't think JC intentionally did that. She was swiping for the ball. She hit her in the eye. They called the foul. So now I'm going back. Marina Mabry, just like Sophie had Caitlin's back, Marina had JC's back, right? So Marina goes up to Caitlin, who wasn't in the play, and bumps Caitlin. That's a dirty play. That wasn't a part of the game. It wasn't a part of the play. That's a dirty play. I get trying to have your teammates back, but at some point, the referees from the very beginning of the game, they have to take control and say, this is how the game is going to be called. And I don't care who the player is. You can't allow that player to control how the game is going to be called. And if you don't make that decision early on in the game, that's why you have all the other plays that are going on. So one thing that happened, I know Tina Charles got a tech. I don't even know why Tina got a tech in that game.
I know. She was just there, but she stepped, or they said in the post report, I can read it again, but she stepped to Caitlin in an unsportsmanlike manner. So it was she stepped as if she was going to do something, but didn't do anything. And then you see Marina Mabry just come in and plow through Caitlin. So I don't understand how she got a tech either, but that was, again, to your point,
Jordan, no.
Set the table for what was going to happen for the rest of the game. Yeah, and kind of for the season.
If you're giving Tina Charles a tech because of the way she stepped to somebody, every player in the league should get a tech. because that happens a lot. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where I will say I think they got it wrong. Personally, I think Marina should have been ejected for doing what she did, and Sophie absolutely should have been ejected, should be suspended a game or two, or however many. I don't know how they decide how many games, but the fact that that didn't happen, you're saying this is okay. So you
Mm-hmm.
can continue to play this way, you can continue to do things like this, and the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to get a flagrant. And you're not going to get suspended. I was totally shocked. One, and I think Marina
Me
was
too.
surprised that she didn't get ejected. And at
Yeah.
the end of the game, when Sophie did it, I mean, the game's over. That's why I'm like, what are you doing? So the fact that neither of them got suspended, I'm like looking at the league saying, what are y'all doing? And then I'm looking at the refs saying, y'all have to be better. You have to be better. Because honestly, JC could have seriously gotten hurt on that play.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Caitlyn could have too when Marina she was
No
not
doubt.
looking. She was
No
not
doubt.
looking. She was very blinded by that. Yeah. No, and I was also very shocked when it came back and the league was able to review that and did not suspend anyone, because like you said, if it's I'm here, if I'm Sophie Cunningham and I'm here looked at as the enforcer, and so I'm going to set a tone for my team, and I'm going to get a flagrant and pull somebody down just to set a tone, and they're just going to toss me, that's worth it because I set the tone or I'm the enforcer, whatever it is. It's weird. But if there's no repercussions for that later on because it was the end of the game, okay, if I don't play the last 40 seconds, I don't care. We already won.
The game's over.
But if it's going to roll over into, no, we play so-and-so next. Yes. We have a huge game next. Yes. And all of those things, that's where you really have to think about it and see if it's worth it. But if you're saying that, no, that could happen and we're good, yeah, and we're just seeing that it's kind of echoing throughout the league, where people have been messaging me and saying all over social media that it just like, it feels like it's more than normal. Like the girls are fighting a little bit more. And I think it starts with just reeling it in and setting the tone. And the tone has been set differently right now, by the referees, by the league. And
100%.
I have no problem with competition. No problem with it being a physical competition. But some of it is like, all right, that's too far.
Here's the other thing for me. It's also okay for players not to like one another. Like, what I mean is, in the NBA, you hear guys who have said, I don't like him at all. Mm-hmm. And people are like, oh, okay, great. But on the W side, they think we're all like best friends and we love each other on the court. Listen, we're competing. Like, I am coming at you from the time the game starts to the time the game's over. I don't have a problem with you being physical with me, with you trying to stop me from scoring. That's what you're supposed to do. I have a problem when it's dirty. When you do something dirty to me is when I have a problem with it, right? Be as physical as you want. Even in being physical, the refs still have to control that part of the game, right? Because the being physical part can eventually turn dirty. Because the more you're being physical and you get away with it, then it becomes like, oh, well, they ain't calling nothing anyway, so I can do a little bit more. So the reason why I bring that up is, JC Sheldon and Caitlyn go all the way back to college, right? Where they defended each other and they competed. And I'm not saying they like each other or not, because I don't know either one of them that way, but they're competitors, right? So JC loves the challenge of, let me guard Caitlyn. So she's guarding Caitlyn. And to me, I don't think JC's a dirty player. I didn't think she intentionally poked her in the eye. I thought she was guarding her. She swiped at the ball. She hit Caitlin in the eye. Caitlin's reaction was, she just poked me in the eye. Y'all, you're not going to do nothing about that, right?
Yeah.
A very legit reaction. But the problem to me was afterwards, then Caitlin pushes JC. So I go back to saying the refs, you have to take control of the game. You have to take control of it. And so then because you didn't, so it goes on the other end. JC, Caitlin still going at it. And Caitlin basically says, JC's like, you can't do that. And Caitlin's response was, I can do whatever the F I want to do.
They were barking.
Take that for what it is. But it was spicy. She's like, you can't do that. She's like, oh yeah, I can do whatever I want to do. Okay. Okay. You think so? But I don't know. I don't know. At some point though, the refs are going to have to be better at what they're doing, because I do think it can get to a point to where somebody's going to really get hurt.
And I think that's the bottom line. That's where we end it, because the refs have to be better. And this has been a conversation, like you said, over the past year. It really was a huge thing in the finals last year, and Sheryl Reeve calling everybody out. But it's Kelsey Plum has, said she'd take a fine earlier this year, called out the refs. Stephanie White has called out the refs. Just coaches, players, everybody is kind of coming together and saying this. There was actually somebody that asked the question of, like, can better refereeing be in the new CBA? Like, can players demand that the refs get better somehow in a legal document, that they can get better? So this is an ongoing conversation. And what I will say to your first point earlier, and I talked about this in the last episode, of what are the repercussions of referees that maybe don't get the calls right. There is a great story on SB Nation that kind of dives deeper into refs' accountability, but they're pretty much getting feedback from all of the other refs and crew chiefs constantly through an internal software system we are not privy to. But there are things up to, like, they could get fined for missing certain type of calls, or assessing a situation wrong. So there are things, but we just don't see that. So it feels like, as fans and as players and as coaches, you don't get that immediate satisfaction of, like, hey, I think you're bad at your job, or you did bad today at work. What are the things that you're going to get, you're not going to be able to do? And another thing is, like, if you get so many of those dings, then you don't get to be on games, and refs get paid per game. So it's one of those things where you want to do better because you want more games and you want to be better at your job. But those are the things that we just kind of aren't privy to. But that's a whole referee conversation. So,
and the last thing I'll say on it, I couldn't be a ref.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it's not. It's a hard job making the right call all the time, because you somebody is not going to like the call. But you're there to do your job, and do your job to the best of its ability. The only thing I ask is for the refs to be better and clean it up so that the games can be better.
Exactly.
That's all I ask.
That is a great point. Yes, that's all we are all asking. That is all we are all asking. All right, well, Sheryl Reeve gonna be looking at those refs with a microscope as we go into the Commissioner's Cup Championship, especially with the Indiana Fever. Like, both of these teams, I think, have criticized and been outspoken on the refs. So I think that's going to be a whole nother subplot of this matchup, is like, yes, we can go player to player and, who's going to guard Caitlyn and what are those looks going to look like. And I think Caitlyn and Aaliyah Boston's pick and roll options, even just yesterday against the Aces, looked amazing. Minnesota's going to try to figure that out and stop that. But there's also this subplot of like, okay, how is this game going to be reffed? And that's going to set the tone for the Commissioner's Cup Championship as well. So we'll see how all that goes down July 1st. And we'll talk about it a little bit more next week as well. But we're going to take a break. Then when we come back, we're going to talk the Phoenix Mercury and how hot it is in Phoenix. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Women's Hoop Show. So now I wanted to go through some of the past week's games because there were some really good games last week. Some upsets, some surprising finishes, an overtime game, rookies showing out in Washington. I mean, a lot of good action this past week. But the one game that I think, I looked at the final score and was tracking it and was like, oh, that happened, was the Phoenix Mercury beating the New York Liberty. Mercury won 89-81, despite, then my next step was to look at the box score and Brianna Stewart scoring a season high 35 points and the Mercury still able to pull this one out. So first of all, the Phoenix Mercury are sitting at third place right now, sitting comfy at third place standings at 11-4. They have the longest winning streak in the WNBA with 5 games, and they are also off to their best start since the last time they won a championship, which was in 2014. So, Sheryl, I don't know about you, and I've already apologized to Phoenix, but I'm going to apologize again. I did not see this from this Phoenix Mercury team. When you think the big 3 that they have, Kalia Copper, Alyssa Thomas, Satu Sabali, and by the way, Ka was not playing against New York, by the way. Those 3 players have only played 3 games together, and still they are sitting at 11-4. So they did not have a draft pick this past draft. This is a hodgepodge team that the front office put together, and it has really worked out for them.
You ain't lying.
Are you shocked by this? Is this expected because Alyssa Thomas is on this team? I don't know. This is just remarkable, and I'm so happy for the Mercury fans. This is the first season without Diana Taurasi. We did not think this was gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I am very, and the fact that they're really sitting here at 11-4, pretty much without Ka, right?
Yes.
I mean, anytime you add AT to any team and Satu to any team, they're going to make the team better. But I didn't have this on my bingo card. I didn't. And I know we're not talking about the Valkyries. It's kind of like the Valkyries. I definitely didn't have the Valkyries on my bingo card to be doing as well as they're doing. I thought it would take this Phoenix Mercury team some time. Like I didn't even necessarily have them making the playoffs.
I had them as a borderline team. It could go good, but it could
not be.
Right.
But you know what I think, Jordan, sometimes as an athlete, all you need is a change. Sometimes as a human, period, just as a person, you need a change to be better. And AT, she was so loyal and committed to Connecticut that I think she is she's going to do what she does on any team, but I think AT was so excited to be somewhere new, somewhere fresh, somewhere different, to to still show I am her. I can still do the things on any team that I did at Connecticut. And for Satu, I think Satu also was ready for a change, right? Being in Dallas, she played well, but to me, in a way, she was in Arike's shadow because Dallas is Arike's team. And going to Phoenix, especially with DT retiring, I think Satu and both AT, I think they both were like, this is my chance to have my team. And AT and Satu playing together, I don't know. I didn't see them playing this well together this early in the season. And then
and when we talk about setting a tone, like they play hard. They play hard. And that makes everyone else want to rise to that level and give effort all the time. And that's what you're seeing. This is a team full of stars like an AT and Satu, but also a ton of rookies who have no other experience or expectation of what a WNBA experience should look like. And you have these players being like, no, this is how we're going to play. And Nate Tibbetts too, setting this tone of like, hey, this is the identity that we are going to have, and you have no other option but to rise to it because this is how we're going to play. So I love that. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to point that out.
You're 100% correct, because I'm sitting here right now looking at the roster, and I'm like, rookie. And it's so crazy when you think about the stars they have on the team, right? Satu, Ka, AT. And to your point, you got Natasha Mack, who's been in the league for a while, Kalani Brown. But the rookies that they have on this team, they're playing meaningful minutes, understanding not only their role, but to your point, they understand how to play. This is what we're going to do. We're going to play hard every single possession. And when you have those three leading that, everybody else just falls in line. And for me, it's so refreshing to see rookies come in and get quality minutes to show what they can do. Because we talk about the Paige Beckers, Kiki, Sonia, we talk about those rookies, but there are rookies on this Phoenix Mercury team that we probably need to start talking about a little bit more. Yeah, their numbers they may not be averaging double figures, but Lexi Hale, like, she's averaging 8 points a game. But to me, it's not just about the points. It's about when she's in the game, just the impact she has on the game every time she's in the game. I'm going to apologize too. Yeah, I'm sorry, Phoenix.
Yeah. This is the Phoenix apology tour continued, because
they are balling right now.
Here's something that I saw this morning from AZ Central that I thought was super interesting. One was that part about, the front office doing a complete overhaul without any draft picks. This is the one thing that I criticized about this team, was the depth, and they have just completely shut me up on that. 5 rookies included in that.
Facts.
You mentioned Lexi Hale averaging 8.7 points, but she also had a game earlier this season where she went off with 20 plus points, draining it from 3, just had herself a day. Latska, she is 9.3 points per game. Monique Akoa Makani was hooping her tail off against the Liberty. Showed up on one of the biggest stages. She's averaging just about 8 points a game, but she had 21 points. And that mid-range baseline jumper was looking sweet. And she did not look like a rookie in that game. She completely stepped up. And they all rank within the top 7 in scoring among rookies. But Latska, Makani, Held, and Catherine Westbeld all occupy the top 4 spots in 3-pointers made by rookies. So they are not only playing hard, they are making threes. And we saw what they did against Chicago, which they also got another win. 17 made threes as a team. Kalani Brown even made a three in that game.
Yeah.
Her second career three. This is what they are trying to run. They are playing hard defense when you have someone like AT being the engine of your defense, but in the same breath, you're shooting threes, you're making threes. You bring in Sammy Whitcomb with that. She had 5 threes in that game against Chicago. And now you're like, okay, this is our identity. This is who we are. And Phoenix, hey, man, sitting at that third spot. I know teams do not want to play this team in the playoffs.
Too. And especially, again, I keep saying this, like getting Ka back at 100% come playoff time. This is a scary looking roster. Jordan, and that was my thing with the off-season moves, right? Like with the free agency, I was like, oh, nice, Satu, AT playing together. But my first thought was, but who else do they have?
Yes,
right? I was like,
that was everyone's first thought. We weren't familiar.
Who else is going
got
to
these players
start and play with them
all over the place?
Well, little did I know. Let's go, Phoenix.
Let's go, Phoenix. I love that for y'all. Love that for y'all. On the other hand, though, the Liberty loss, we know that they lost the Indiana game. We talked about that a little bit. Then they lost against Phoenix. And then they lost again. And now they have lost against Seattle, right? Now I'm forgetting.
Yeah, Seattle just beat them.
Now they have lost 3 of their last 4. And this is a Liberty team that was off to a blazing hot start. Still sitting at the top of the East. But JJ, they're not at 100%. And when we talk about the Liberty, it needs to be everybody. They're missing Phoebich. She's playing Eurobasket. JJ re-aggravated her ankle sprain, so now she's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. And yeah, so I feel like this is a little bit of an asterisk with this Liberty team. It's like you got to just kind of stay afloat until you get 100%. Would you agree?
No doubt I agree. But I'm also going to say they still have Stewie, Sabrina, and Tasha Cloud. You're 100% correct. Not having JJ in the paint on both ends of the floor, right? Offensively and defensively, changes the look of the New York Liberty squad. And Phoebich, just her being able to just do all the things that she does, scoring the basketball, being another threat offensively. That without question, they're missing 2 big pieces, but they do still have 3 really nice pieces. So I don't expect. I'm sorry, and Johannes. I don't know how I forgot about her.
She's been balling. Yeah.
I think it's one of the things for the Liberty though, where they have to figure out, not one player can step up right and make up for JJ, but now I think they just got to figure out, all right, we know we're not going to have JJ for a good 4 to 6 weeks, so let's figure out how we're going to play. Sandy making some adjustments, but I expect players like Niara Sabali to step up. I'm absolutely not counting this New York Liberty team out at all.
Okay. Yeah, me neither. The last game or another game was on June 20th. I love that our producer Phil, who does amazing notes in here, he has the Wings defeating the Connecticut Sun 86-83, and then it's ... best of the worst? Question mark. Because it kind of was. As you're watching that game, you're like, God, this is one of those battles that it's like, okay, at least we're not last. Let's try to figure out who's very last and who's almost last. And the Wings won. I mean, after we badgered the coach so bad, they have won a couple games.
Did we do that?
Since then? We were being honest, and everyone applauded our honesty.
Well, we ain't the only ones.
No, we ain't. But the Wings have won a couple games, and they were able to get another one over the Connecticut Sun. But I also just continue to be impressed by Paige Bueckers. I don't even know if we have talked about her enough because the team is so bad and it's hard to talk about. But Paige Bueckers scores 21 points in that game, and even just the other night playing up against Washington, hit the go-ahead 3 to go into overtime. I think she has just made a great transition into the W, and they got to get a few more wins before we can really talk about the team as a whole. But I just love how Paige has been balling. That's all I wanted to say on the Dallas.
I mean, we could give Paige flowers probably every week. I agree with you. I don't think she's being talked about. Yeah, we're talking about her, but I don't think she's being talked about enough as a rookie and what she's doing because Dallas is so bad. If Dallas was better or their record was better, we would be having a completely different conversation about Paige Bueckers. But don't get it twisted. Paige Bueckers is the real deal. Without question, Paige is getting it done.
She is the real deal. What else happened? Valkyries are over 500. They had a huge win against the Indiana Fever. I mean, come on. 88-77. Indiana led that fourth quarter, 59-55. But then the Valkyries went on a 33-18 run in the final 10 minutes. And it's like the crowd, the everything. The Valkyries are so fun to watch on television. And
oh my gosh,
they're just in the middle of the pack. They're just climbing.
I gotta get to a home game for the Valkyries because watching it on TV, I'm like, oh my, like they just pull you in. And listen, this might be the one arena. This is what I said when I was watching the game. Like lots of times when Indiana is playing on the road, it still feels like a home game for them because there's so many Caitlin Clark fans, right? You see so many Caitlin Clark jerseys. The Valkyries? Oh no, you knew that it was a Valkyries home game.
It's a great point. Yeah.
Like I was looking actually. I was like, well, didn't see very many Fever jerseys, not very many Caitlin Clark jerseys. They weren't cheering when they did something good. I was like, oh yeah, the Valkyries are cheering on their squad. But Jordan, I agree. I love watching this team play. They play hard. They play together. They compete. Like, just like I definitely didn't have this on my bingo card at all. At all.
I love these type of surprises, though. This is a wonderful surprise. And Natalie Nakase is just, I mean, we could talk about it every week. She is coaching. Her clipboard, her scouting report on Caitlin was amazing. And the buy-in is just there. Leticia Mihir was swatting shots, coming weak side. Like, it was just fun to see. And the Valkyries, I mean, they took care of business against Connecticut again, but they're just climbing those standings. And it's been wonderful. Shout out to y'all, Golden State. And they also, I feel like we talk about the home crowd, but I'm like, you guys have a lot of home games. I'm like, are you guys going on a road trip anytime soon? You have played at home a lot, but it's cool to see.
No, it is, but that's where I'm anxious to see how the winning, how the team, how it will travel, right? Because playing at home in front of your crowd, like the crowd's going to keep you in the game. I want to see what they're going to do when they do get back out on the road. Can they continue this little streak they're on right now? And shout out to Aerial Powers getting picked up.
Yes.
Yeah, was happy for her. Was happy for her to see her back in the league. I'm saving a player on the Valkyries for our flower segment.
Okay, great. I have a player on Seattle on the flower segment, so that's why I wasn't really touching on Seattle, so we can talk about them a little bit later. I just checked their schedule. It seems like in July, Valkyries will be traveling quite a bit. They go to Minnesota, Atlanta, Indiana, Vegas, and then they have some more home games. But like before then, they have 3 more home games in a row.
I mean,
like they're like, hey, we pay for this team. We gonna make sure we getting these sold out crowds.
Yep,
paying us back real quick.
Get you some more wins under your belt. But another shout out before we move on. Chloe Bibby, she been shooting that thing.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Caitlin Shin coming in.
I like this team. I do.
I like it, and I feel with this conversation with Phoenix, just real quick, I feel so encouraged. I think a mixture of this rookie class making seamless transitions into the WNBA, which I contributed more because more college players are watching the WNBA. I think that has really helped with seamless transitions, but also players overseas, players off of waivers, undrafted, making better transitions, making their mark. It makes me so excited that we get 2 more teams next year and we get to do this all over again. We're going to be excited about players that we don't know times 2 next season. And I love that. I want, put me on players that I was not aware of.
I agree.
And that is
love to see it.
It's been so fun this season. That's been a highlight for sure.
To your point, before we move on, I know I just said this. I also think, because we mentioned it about Paige, and I saw someone posted this on social. Are we talking about this rookie class enough?
Truly. I think that's a fair point.
They may not have the quote star power that Caitlin had last year, Angel had last year, Cam Brink, Rakia, but they got the skills. Kiki, Sonia, Paige, listen, Pow. I just love saying Pow. I just love Pow. Girl, if I was her, every time I hit a bucket, I'd be like, Pow. Take that with you.
Shooting percentage is off the charts.
Jordan,
Every GM is looking at her like, we passed on that.
Right? We passed on that. I honestly don't think we're giving them enough respect. Like these and maybe I'm forgetting 1 or 2, but like, can we put some respect on these rookies' names? Because they are killing it right now.
They are. I feel proud. I don't know why. Especially just, I think I just watched the college game so much this past. I know. I'm like, yes. Like, this is what we need. This is what I love. And you're right. I feel like we have talked about the rookies and like, oh, they're playing well. But like, from years past, this is exceptionally better. Like this is and these are rookies that are making immediate impacts in the starting lineup.
Yes.
Starter minutes. Yes. Like this isn't you had a one-off game. These are like, nope, every single game you're getting better, actually, and you are helping your team get wins. It's incredible.
I love it. Love it for us. I love it for us.
Love it. Okay. Let's take a quick break, pay some bills, and we'll be right back. Stick around. We're going to send some flowers on the other side. Okay, welcome back to the Women's Hoop Show. Still here, Sheryl and I yapping away. And before we wrap up, it's time for Sending Flowers, sponsored by Cash App. Making money moves should be easy, and that's why there's Cash App. It's fast, safe, and honestly, just way more personalized than other apps out there. So, Sheryl, who would you like to send your flowers, your roses to this week?
This week for me was an easy one. I am giving my flowers to LA, Letitia Amihir. I just, you know, when I look at what she's been through, not just this season, right? Being with Atlanta last year, not getting a lot of playing time, going to the Valkyries, getting waived, Valkyries calling her back. She is the true definition of staying ready so you don't have to get ready. Her impact in the 2 games that she's played, Indiana and Connecticut, I believe. She was a very big difference and reason why, to me, that they won those games. What I love is she carries herself like a professional. A lot of people couldn't or wouldn't handle certain situations the way she did. You were with a team, they waived you, they calling you back, girl, come help us win some games. And she's like, okay, you need me? I'm here. She absolutely deserves to be on a team. And Jordan, the more I think about it, I look at some other teams, i.e. like Vegas. I'm like, dang, y'all could have picked her up a minute ago.
Yeah.
Because she really could have helped y'all. But I'm so happy for her. I'm glad she's getting another opportunity. I'm glad she's getting the minutes. She's playing well. She's killing it. She's crushing it. LA, here are your flowers. Keep doing what you're doing, girl, because we see you.
I love it. I love how the Valkyries brought her back, brought Caitlin Chin back, brought Bree Hall in off of waivers. Like, second chance land, and it's like, we have nothing to lose. We were just out of the league a week ago. Let's go win some games. Let's go play hard. So I love it. Also, you're on a streak with giving Valkyries their flowers, Valkyrie players their flowers, because it's been that good.
So I'm gonna end on one thing. So when the players come back, what do you do?
You have to get rid of them because of the roster limit, but I think they have made their case.
You can get rid of somebody else and keep LA.
That's true. True. You got to get rid of somebody, though. That is true.
She's playing well.
She is. Someone else who has been playing well and who I want to give my flowers to, a player that we don't talk about enough, who's been balling out of control, and that is Gabby Williams.
Come on, Gabs.
Seattle Storm.
Yes.
Just this week, on Tuesday, she had a career high 8 steals. Then on Friday, she had a career high 12 rebounds. Then on Sunday, she had a career high 10 assists. Those are all different categories. Categories. And Skylar Diggins posted that to her story and said Gabby should be most improved, defensive player of the year, and an all-star. Like, that is what she does. And we know that that's what Gabby Williams can do for the Seattle Storm team. That's why it was such a big story if she was going to sign for a full year, if she was going to keep playing in France, if she was going to come back. And now you can see that when she plays well, the Storm win games. Like, she is that integral to the Seattle Storm's success. And it has been just so amazing to see her kind of get those flowers and show everybody, this is what I can do. Doesn't matter the category, doesn't matter offense, defense. Where do you need me? What do you want? What do you need? She can get it done. So
I like that.
Gabby Williams, here is your bouquet. Keep killing it, because I know that you are in other WNBA players have nightmares about Gabby Williams defending them, getting a rebound over them, or stealing the ball from them. Like, that's what she does. So
that's a good one.
Shout out to you, Gabby.
That's a good one. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So deserving.
All right, well, that was so deserving. Both players, so deserving. I love this segment so much. That was Sending Flowers, sponsored by Cash App. As you heard me say at the top of the show, new Cash App users can use our code to get free money. Use our code Hoopers, send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 right in your account. Thank you, Cash App, and thank you, Sheryl. Always fun. Feel like we covered a lot.
You know, I love doing this with you. I do. We have a good time.
Always have a good time. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an update. Your support means the world. And if you're feeling generous, leaving a quick rating or review helps more Hoops fans discover the show. And you can now see us on our brand new YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe there. Shoot us an email at women'shoops@odyssey.com to tell us what's on your mind. We want to hear your hottest takes, your burning questions, and all your feelings about all things women's hoops. We just might feature your note on the show. That's women'shoops@odyssey.com. The Women's Hoop Show is an Odyssey original podcast hosted by me, Jordan Robinson. Today, our co-host was Sheryl Swoops. Our producer is Phil Sweetek. Our video team is led by Kurt Courtney and includes Tim Meikle, Evan Cox, Allison Jeffrey, and Lauren Vieira. Our executive producers are Greg Holtzman, Asha Saluja, Danny Freisinger, Maddie Sprunkheiser, and Leah Reese-Dennis. And special thanks to Moira Curran and Josephina Francis.